Brand campaigns are some of the most important campaigns you can launch for your e-commerce brand when it comes to Google Ads. But problem is, so many e-commerce brands do it the wrong way. And as a result, not only do they end up completely wasting a lot of valuable budget, which they could have spent on cold traffic, but they actually end up making their entire Google Ads accounts into a retargeting Google Ads account. So in this video, I'm going to show you my exact strategy of how I go about launching brand campaigns and ensuring neither of these two problems ever happen. Now, strategizing around these branded campaigns could be branded search campaigns, branded performance max, doesn't matter. But what you want to understand is that strategizing around them should be based on two specific things. Number one, it should be based around what the main goal for the brand is right now. Is it to get more brand awareness, meaning just throw your brand name out there in the market so it remains in the back of somebody's mind? Or is it to more go after buying intent audiences where you want to essentially get that sale and force that sale to happen, and brand awareness is not really the main point of issue. Second thing is, what is the account strategy as a whole? Is it mostly to go after cold traffic, or is it to kind of go after retargeting more and then use other traffic channels for cold traffic? Keeping both of these things in mind and making your brand campaign strategy based around these two things can be the difference between a brand doing over 6 figures per month versus a brand that is barely scraping by. Now, there's essentially different types of brand campaigns that you can launch. We're going to start off with the most common one for a brand campaign, which is a branded search campaign. Now, these get a lot of bad rep because so many e-commerce brands believe that they would have got this sale anyways. There was really no need to spend money trying to get that click on that branded search term when it was going to be listed within organic listings anyways. And this is the wrong way to think when it comes to these brand campaigns, simply because what happens is, over time, as your brand starts getting more awareness, as it starts to scale, as it becomes a well-known brand and in the industry and the market, more and more of your competitors start to buy your brand. Essentially, what that means is they start to find ways to target your audience and to steal your traffic. The easiest way to do this with Google Ads is to do something called a competitor search campaign, where essentially all of the keywords that you are targeting within that competitor search campaign are for your competitor's brand name. So if you are running the brand, for example, google.com, and your competitor was trying to steal your traffic, they would just target directly the keyword Google or google.com or anything related to that to steal your traffic, because now, since they're paying for that click, their ad has a higher chance of showing up number one, and then your organic listings would start showing up number 2 and number 3 and so on and so forth. So that's a very risky move for you to not have a branded campaign, because essentially at a level of scale, you are going to have competitors trying to steal your traffic. But there's a right way to run a brand campaign and there's a wrong way. And essentially what I want to do is I want to show you exactly how we started this brand campaign right here, which has been running for quite some time now. If we look right over here, we can see that it's been running essentially since 2023, has spent roughly $74,000 and generated back a decent amount of conversions. As you can see, 3,336 conversions for over $1 million in revenue. So the ROAS is a 14x. Now, the main thing that we do with the branded campaign, first of all, is to just set up a normal search campaign just like you normally would. But the main strategy that's going to be different is what you do within the ad group section. So if you look right here, right now, first and foremost, we only have one major ad group targeting all of the branded keywords. But the way we do it is we like to kind of separate it out based on exact match keywords and phrase match keywords. These are the only two match types we like to have within our branded search campaigns, because these are the ones that are going to convert the most. You don't want to be doing anything like broad match strategies with branded search, because what happens is if somebody starts typing in something completely separate to your brand, maybe they're not trying to purchase something, maybe they're just trying to get more info, or they're looking at the shipping policy, return policy, so on and so forth, you end up wasting a lot of your budget trying to rank for those kinds of keywords and those search terms, which really is not ideal. So that's why we like to keep it very, very specific, but at the same time, give it just a little bit of leeway where it can go out and just do enough damage in the market, find enough people to convert, and go after the most commonly searched terms, which are high buying intent. But the most important thing we are doing right here, if you look, is the maximum CPC. We have enhanced CPC as the bidding strategy enabled for this brand search campaign. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're bidding for each keyword separately based on previous data. Now, this is one of the most important things you have to do for your brand campaign, because if you try to go about doing a smart bidding based strategy for a brand campaign, not only will your bids be too high, but also it will not not be as profitable, and you will be wasting a lot of your budget unnecessarily, because the main goal for you with a brand campaign is to spend as little money as possible while generating as much in revenue as possible. And that's exactly what we have seen to work the best with a branded search campaign, for example, when we go after a manual bidding strategy versus just going after smart bidding. Because all smart bidding does, if you set a target ROAS, is it tries to bid as high as possible while trying to remain within the target ROAS kind of a range that you have given it. So if you set a 300% target ROAS, but then the bidding range to achieve that is between $1 to $1.50, Google will try to bid $1.49, because that's how Google makes a lot of money. And you don't want to do that, especially if you can get away with bidding $1 for that same 300% ROAS. So that's what we have understood from these brand search campaigns, running them for not only my brands, but my clients' brands as well. Which, by the way, if you run a brand doing over $50,000 per month, you need some extra help scaling to the next level with Google Ads, go onto my website at yourmarketing.com and schedule a completely free call with me, and let's see how we can potentially work together to scale your brand with Google. That's kind of the keyword approach we are taking. So that's one thing you want to keep in mind for your own strategy. Number one, stick to exact match and phrase match related keywords. But number two, do more manual bidding versus doing smart bidding for this kind of campaign approach. Next thing is looking at the ad copies. Now, this is also where most brands go wrong, because if your CTRs are less than 50% for a branded search campaign ad copy, then you're doing something wrong, because this is a branded campaign and it's going to lead to clicks. It should be leading to clicks if you have laid it out properly. And one thing I've understood with the ad copy itself is you want to talk about your brand as a whole, the benefits, features, how it helps a user's life, how it makes it easier, etc. on the top level. You don't want to be going too in-depth into the nitty-gritty details of your products, even if you sell just one product, because that's not the main goal of a branded campaign. It's to rather give a branded feel to your audience and make it seem as if your brand is a very big brand that has a lot of space that it takes up on the Google Ads platform. Not only are you on shopping, but you also have branded search campaigns going on. And this is adding sort of trust to the user's mind, which is exactly what you want to happen. But that's essentially what you want to be doing for the ad copy on the branded search campaign side of things. You want to keep things very simple. You don't have to go too crazy or too in-depth in it, as long as you ensure that you are doing manual bidding and you have the most relevant high buying intent keywords targeted within your branded search campaign ad copy. And if we go on over to the campaign settings now, this branded search campaign, a very simple setup. It could be targeting one country, or it could be also targeting multiple different countries. This brand, what we are doing is we're sticking to the United States for this brand search campaign. But if you target, for example, top 5 countries for a branded search campaign, that's completely fine. You want to have these kinds of settings here. For example, customer acquisition, you want to be bidding for old ones as well as new ones. You don't want to be doing anything here. And then the bidding strategy should again be manual CPC, keeping things fairly simple, fairly straightforward. You don't have to be going too crazy with the situation. And it's better to start with a budget that's around 5% to 10% of your total daily budget. So in this situation, we're trying to spend over $15,000 per day in ad spend. That's why the branded search campaign approach, it is as roughly at a $450 in this situation, $360 per day kind of data ad spend levels. You want to be less than 5% to less than 10%. Ideally, less than 5% is better. But that's how you want to be taking the approach for branded search. Now, moving on to a Performance Max branded campaign, you could also do the same for standard shopping. The best way to set these up is to essentially go within your Performance Max campaign and within the campaign settings section. When it comes to customer acquisition, you want to ensure that you are basically not bidding just for new customers, because the moment you check this box is the moment now Google starts going after new customers only. If your main goal is to have some branded traffic coming in through the PMAX as well, maybe because your account doesn't have enough good quality data and it needs some retargeting help to become better, then this is the perfect approach for you to take. Just uncheck these boxes and just let the campaign run at it as it is, essentially, so that you can bid equally for new and existing customers. That's the ultimate goal for your brand, essentially, when it comes to a branded Performance Max campaign. And the same thing you can do for a standard shopping campaign. But with standard shopping campaigns, the only difference is going to be is that you're going to add in an audience for the retargeting side of things. So for instance, if we go inside this brand right here, go over to the standard shopping campaign that this brand currently has running, what we can see is within here, the audiences section, you have the ability to add in different audiences. And the best way to turn a standard shopping campaign into just a retargeting campaign or a branded campaign is to go in here and just choose targeting as the main option within the audience segment section. This will force your ad to not only go after the retargeting audiences, then you can select those different audiences which you would like to target directly within the standard shopping campaign. But it's as simple as that. And that is the exact approaches you should be taking when it comes to branded campaigns. You don't need to be doing anything too crazy. And in fact, the more simpler your branded approach is, the better it's going to perform and the more long-term it's going to run. But again, if you're on a brand doing 50,000 or more per month in revenue, you need some extra help scaling to the next level with Google Ads, go on to my website at yourmarketing.com, schedule a completely free call with me, and let's see how we can potentially work together and make that happen.